After 1941 in Pearl Harbor, Executive Order 9066 was signed by Franklin Roosevelt that led to the incarceration of Japanese American families, and one of those families was named the Munamitsu family. The Munamitsu family had a farm in Westminster, a thriving farm, and the family banker talked to the Munamitsus about leasing their land during their internment so that when they would return, they'd be able to come back to their farm. Gonzalo and Felicitas owned a small cantina restaurant, but always longed to get into farming, but didn't have an opportunity to do so.
And the banker used to come to the cantina, and so the banker said to him, Gonzalo, I know of a way you can become the mayordomo of a farm, 40 acres of asparagus in Westminster. He got so excited, he sold the cantina, and that's how we ended up in Westminster. And I remember getting all dressed up, new clothes. My mother always braided my hair, and we were all ready to go, so excited. And then we got to the school, and all of a sudden my tia says, we're going home. And we didn't know what had happened.
We as a nation were confronting Nazism, which in some respects was the worst, most exaggerated form of segregation. And we were asking Americans of every background to participate in that war effort. And more than 300,000 Mexican Americans participated in the U.S. military during World War II. More than 9,000 Mexican Americans died fighting for the United States in World War II. And that began to really impact and mobilize communities to say, wait a minute, this is not just. Gonzalo and Felicitas were two of those kind of young parents who looked at the education situation that they were facing with their children turned away from what really is the nicer school and the school closest to us, and forced to go to a Mexican school when they in fact are American children, speak English fluently, and are being given a second-class education.
We would all walk, I don't know how many blocks, into the barrio to go to the Mexican school every day. I would say, my dad's fighting and I'm gonna go to that beautiful school. It had manicure lawn, it had beautiful palm trees, but the most important thing at 8 years old, they had a playground.
That's when they found an attorney named David Marcus who had successfully challenged segregation in other public settings like swimming pools and movie theaters.
The school board came to the ranch and, Mr. Mendez, we heard about you getting a lawyer. Just stop this nonsense and we'll allow your children to go to that school. My father got so upset. He said, I am not going to stop this. And I'm not just fighting for my children, I'm fighting for all the children, not para todos los niños, he said.
She saw her father, who was an immigrant from Mexico, her mother, who is from Puerto Rico, try to make better for themselves and for their family. And when they saw that there was injustice taking place, they had courage to bring about change.
In 1946, Judge Paul McCormick found in favor of the families, and in 1947, the Ninth Circuit required Orange County school districts to integrate.
This had a ripple effect and ultimately affected millions across the country, paving the way for Brown v. Board of Education.
But it took a tremendous toll. Gonzalo died at 51, and part of it was the weight of everything that they had experienced in this process, because obviously there was a lot of pushback, and a lot of the brunt of that fell on Gonzalo, and he died as a young man.
I went on to college, became a registered nurse, worked at LA County for 33 years, became assistant nursing director, and decided to retire very young to take care of my mother because she was very sick. And she would say, Sylvia, nadie sabe, nobody knows about this case. You have to go tell it. It's history of the United States, history of California. How can this not be history? California was the first state to be integrated and people don't even know about it.
I think she's driven by the fact that she knows that she is someone who has benefited by parents who fought for her and for other students. She is somebody who understands the power of the law, the power of coalition, the power of inspiration. And that is why she received the Presidential Medal of Freedom from President Barack Obama.
When I got it, I started crying and crying because it reminded me of how my father had died and nobody had even said gracias, and I knew that this was a way of thanking him. He was getting that Medal of Freedom. It wasn't me, it was him. Gracias for what you did, Gonzalo.